Hey everyone, StarCraft Live. Welcome back to our map making tutorial. Today we're going to continue our trigger module. So currently we're on page 2 of 4. So it looks like first we're going to start out triggers that use regions. So regions are areas on the map that can be referenced with triggers. You can, for example, run a trigger where a unit enters or leaves a region, issue orders to any units currently inside of a region, create units at random points within a region, and more. So in our map, we're going to make a trigger that creates extra units for player 1 when our units enter a region where that colony is, and another trigger that makes Ultralisk unburrow when our units enter the region around the unit. Okay, so before we can use a region in our triggers, we need to place it on the map. So let's go ahead, open up the same map we left off on last time, which you can see here. And so what we're going to do is select the regions layer you can either press R or select this button here. Okay, and then we're gonna select the circle, and then we're gonna just move your view of the terrain so you're looking at the farm area, and left click and drag the mouse to place a region in the center of the farm area. So we want to just place it around, click and drag, just to make sure it covers the Ultralisk in this farm area. Okay, so right now you can see it just called it region 001. That's just the default name. So if you want to change the name of the region, just select it here, double click, and then you can change it there. We're just going to leave it as the default setting now. Okay, so next section, entering Ultralisk region causes unit to unburrow. So you won't be able to kill the Ultralisk and win the mission unless it unburrows first. So using our new region, we're going to make him unburrow when our heroes get close. So let's switch back to the trigger editor window and create a new folder called gameplay events. So remember the trigger editor module, just click the gears, and then go ahead and create, right click, new folder, and then name that gameplay events. And again, creating folders just lets you organize things better. Organize your triggers. Okay. So in this folder, we're going to create a new trigger called Unburrow Ultralisk. So just right click, new trigger. Again, you can just hit Control T if you like, but I'll probably just be using the right click method. So we're going to name this trigger Unburrow Ultralisk. Okay. So after that, select the trigger and add the following events, conditions, and actions. So it's selected, and here you have your trigger events trigger window. So first, an event, we need an event to fire when a unit enters the region we just created. So right click in the trigger area and select new event. Okay, then in the pop-up window, select unit enter leaves region. So again, remember you can just type it in, unit enter leaves region. Okay, change the region value to our new region. Okay, and that should be in value for the default region we just created. Okay. This is just what it's saying. Change from function to value to find the region. You can also use the choose button to define and select the region in the terrain editor to choose it for the trigger. Okay. So conditions for the trigger, we need two conditions, one for each unit that we want to check. So one for the Ultralisk, one for the Nidus Worm. Right click in the trigger area and select new condition, and select comparison and OK. Okay. So new condition, comparison, OK. Value 1 should be set to owner of unit. It is. The unit sub value should be triggering unit. and value 2 should be set to 1, which refers to player 1. Sorry, when I said Ultralisk Nido Swarm, it's checking the hero unit and the Ultralisk to see if they're in the same region for the Ultralisk to unburrow. Okay, actions. We're going to create 2 actions for this trigger. First, we'll order the Ultralisk to unburrow. Second, we'll add an action to reveal the entire farm region. So right-click in the trigger area and select New Action. Select Turn Trigger On/Off. So just type Turn Trigger On/Off. Okay. So make sure the trigger value is set to current trigger and the state value is set to off. Okay. So this makes it so that the unburrow trigger only runs once. So if we don't turn this trigger off, which it is here, then we'll continue to run the trigger over and over. So create another action. This is going to be an issue order. Okay. And then for the unit, select the Ultralisk variable. Okay, so select unit, variable, Ultralisk. For the order, select order with no target. Okay. For the ability command, select Ultralisk unburrow. Okay. So I think it's in value Ultralisk unburrow. Here we go. So leave the queue field set to replace existing orders. Okay. So create another action. And this action is going to be reveal area. So we can reveal the farmland area. Okay. Set the area value to the region that we use in the event. So area value region 1. Okay. And then set the duration to 0. So this makes it that the region remains revealed indefinitely. So there's no fog of war. We'll cover a region set to reveal for 0 seconds. So this just makes it, it reveals the area, and then after you leave that area, it'll remain visible. So setting it to 0. It's good to know. Let's just check this, make sure everything is good. It looks fine. So in this last area, just leave the player and check level cliff to the default values. Okay, so let's save. And now we're going to test it. So again, just make sure you save test document. Okay, so once the map loads, your units will be attacked by the yellow computer player. We're going to fix this later.
This don't look good.
We saw this last time.
This better be good. Sell me.
So let's go ahead. Let's turn the sound down quite a bit. It's very loud. So you guys can still hear me, and set this game to play to faster. Oh, I'll show you how you can change your default settings so it automatically opens as faster after this video. After this this ends.
What's the plan?
Okay, just keep throwing grenades.
What's up? Sounds like a plan.
Okay, so now we just want to go and find the Ultralisk Nido worm
You can count on me.
in the farmland area.
Time to man up. You can count on me.
Okay, let's just kill these guys. Try to save our marines.
Break it down. What's the
Okay,
plan?
we also, just really quick, I don't know why it's showing this. Let's just change a couple settings. Again, this resets every once in a while. Okay. That should be good.
Talk to me. Time to man up.
So what should happen, the
Raiders
Ultralisk should unburrow, and we should be able to
Sounds
kill
like a
both
plan.
units to trigger the victory
You can count on me.
screen.
Raiders roll.
So let's just make sure that happens.
Sounds like a plan.
So let's
Time
try
to
not to
man
kill these
Sell me. What's up?
these civilians.
You can count on me.
So we're just going to use our plasma gun
Raiders
to kill the
roll.
Ultralisk fast. Should be G, yes.
Time to man up. Sounds like a plan.
So here's a farmland
Break
area.
it down. Raiders roll.
Come out,
You can
wherever you
count
are,
on me.
Ultimus. There it is. So let's just spam G. Oh, we lost him.
Break it
It's
down.
okay. He was
Sounds like a
disposable.
plan.
A little sad, but okay. It's fine.
Give him some pepper.
Let's just kill
What's
this
up?
nice one real fast. We should get a victory. There we go. Victory. So now we know that the victory condition works as well as the Ultralisk and Burrow trigger works as well. Let's just quit. We'll go back to the editor. Okay, quit out. There we are. Okay, so next section, we're going to create transmissions from the colonists as we enter the area, as well as spawn some reinforcements. Okay, when we enter the colony, we should have the colonists displaying their problem with the transmission. So we're going to create a new region covering the colonist area. Okay, so let's just close the triggers tab, open up our editor. So here's the colonist area. Again, the trigger button, circle, and then just click and drag over the colonist area. Okay, and we're just going to leave that as the default name. Okay, so now go back to triggers. And now we're going to create a trigger to send the transmission when you enter the region. Okay, new. Okay, new trigger. Okay, and we're going to name this enter. Sorry. Rename. Enter colony. Okay, and just make sure it's in your gameplay events folder. Okay, create event, unit enter leaves region event. So just right click, new event, unit enters leaves region. Change the region value from the entire map to your new region. So just click on this, value, region 2. So conditions, so we're going to create a comparison condition. So we're going to change value 1 to owner of unit, it is. Change the unit sub-value to triggering unit, it already is. So leave the operator set to equal to, and then value 2 should be equal to 1, which it is. Okay. So now create another action. This action is going to be turn trigger on off. Make sure the trigger is set to current trigger, and the state is set to off. Okay, now create a transmission action. Okay, transmission. So this one, let's see, which one do we want? We want transmission for player. Okay. So you can modify who's sending the transmission, what sound files to play, what the subtitles are, and much more when sending a transmission. So it shows the options that we set. So let's go ahead and do that. So everything, the only things you need to change are unit, so who is talking. So this is going to be our colonist, male at 8557 2204. These are that's just the coordinates, the XY coordinates on the map of the colonist. Okay, flash talk. There's not going to be any sound files. We're just going to have subtitles. The name, this is going to be show as the name of the person that's speaking, Marine. And the message, being a typical Marine, he's going to say, "We're coming with y'all." With ya. Okay. Okay. We want cinematic portrait of the Marine. The position of the portrait will be in the center left of the screen. Talk. Add duration. So this is the number of in-game seconds that he's going to be talking. So you just want it long enough so that the player can read what he's saying. Okay. So next we're going to add a create units with default facing action. So again, just right click, set action. So create unit with default facing. Set the count value to 5. So this will be the number of units that are spawned. Set the type value to Marine. Okay. Search Marine. And then you want unit, go down to the unit folder in the Marine. Set the player value to 1. So you, the player, get those Marines. And then leave the flag value as is. Okay. So we want the Marine units to spawn in at one of the colonist buildings. So they're not popping out of thin air. To do so, we need to set the point value to position of unit. So double click the point value, and then in a function, radio button, select position of unit. So setting this, it created a new sub value under the position of unit, shown here. And then you want to select one of the colonist buildings and press OK. So select this new unit value, select the value, and then you want to go down to colonist hut. We're going to do the same one that's shown on this tutorial, 7850, 2450. But you can choose whichever one you like. So that just sets where the Marines will be spawned from, which hut they'll be spawned from. So when we're done, the action is going to look like this. So you can check on the tutorial or just look here to make sure that everything looks okay. Okay, we're going to create an issue order to unit group action. So again, right click. I might just start using Control R. So let's just go ahead and do that. It's a little faster since we're creating a lot of actions. So we want issue order to unit group. Set the group value to last created units. This is found under the function. So let's type last created units. And then set the order value to order targeting unit. So order targeting unit. Set the ability value to move. Okay, so I guess that means that when the Marines are spawned, they'll move to Jim Raynor. Set the unit value to Jim Raynor. So yeah, just like I said. So in value Jim Raynor, those Marines will move towards your Jim Raynor unit. Okay, leave the queue value and replace existing orders. So it wants us to repeat those steps, create a few medics as well. So basically what we're going to do, just copy these, the last two actions you created, and then Control C, Control V, and then we're just going to change, click on the first action, So we're going to have 3 medics. So count 3, medic. Okay. And then let's have them spawn from a different building. So let's do the 7650, 2950. There we go. That should be it for that. And this one should be the same. Order all units to move to Jim Raynor. That should be the same. Looks like it is. Okay, that should be it for that section. The next is objectives triggers. So players won't know what they're supposed to do in a map unless we give them an objective. So next on the list of triggers is to make a discover objective and complete objective. Okay, let's create another folder with the name objectives. So right click in the triggers window, new folder. So you can see it created the folder down here. We don't want it there. So let's just right click. You can move out. So that'll move that folder out of the gameplay events. So right click, rename it, and just call this folder objectives. Okay. Sorry, just getting some water. Okay, and we're back. Discover objective. Now, discover objective trigger will create the objective in the upper left hand of the screen and contain text that lets the players know what the objective is. This trigger will run when the game starts. So first we want to create a couple of variables to track our 2 objectives. Okay. So in the objectives, just right click, new variable. And this first one is going to be called Nidus Swarm objective. Nidus Swarm objective. And change the type to objective. Okay, and then we're going to create another variable. And this is going to be the Ultralist objective. And again, change this type to objective. Okay. So in the same objective folder, create a new trigger called Discover Objective. So yeah, just make sure that folder's selected, new trigger. And then this is called this Discover Kill Objectives. Okay, and it's important that you name these folders and triggers reasonable names. So if you have tons of triggers and you go back up or someone else opens your map, you're not naming these like trigger 1, trigger 2. They actually are meaningful names that you want to give. Okay, and then in the trigger area window, just create a new event. This is going to be a map initialization event. We don't need to make any conditions for this trigger since it will run every time the game starts. So this trigger is going to occur when the map is initialized. So create a wait action. Just remember Control R. Wait. So this action will cause the trigger to pause for the specified number of seconds. So we're using a wait in this trigger so that player has time to get oriented on the map before we throw information at them. They'll have time to see the environment and find the units on the map, and then they'll see objectives show up. We've set the time value to 2 seconds. Okay. So next, create a create objective action. So Control R. Create objective. Okay. Keep the state and type values set to active and primary. but change the text and description to something related to killing the Nidus worm. Okay. So text is going to be just something basic the player understands. Kill the Nidus worm. You don't want anything too crazy. Then description. So the text is what will show up in the upper left corner, and the text is what occurs when you with your mouse you hover over the objective, and then it'll show like a little pop-up which displays this text. So this is if you want to give like any more another description to that objective. So we just call it whatever we want. What is, let's say, what the hell is coming out of its mouth? Sorry, I can't type. Okay. Let's see. Add a set variable action next. Set variable. So choose the Nidus worm objective variable. Nidus worm objective. And choose the function last created objective for the second value. Last created objective. This way we can reference our new objective by calling the variable. So repeat these steps for the Ultralist objective. So basically we can just copy and paste the last two things we created and go to objective. So this will be kill the Ultralisk. And the description, you can say that thing is huge. Okay. And then in the variable, we want to set this to Ultralist objective. And then keep this last created objective. Okay, save it and test it. So file save. Oh, before we open it, let's go to preferences. And then I'm just going to show you how you can default it to open at fast speed. So under preferences, test document, game speed, just set this to faster if you want it to always open on the faster gameplay setting. Okay, let's just save and then test document. So all we're looking for now is to make sure the objectives show up. That's all we want to see.
This don't look good.
Okay, so after 2 seconds, yeah, you can see the objectives show up.
What's up?
Kill the Nidus worm. What the hell is coming out of its mouth? Kill the Ultralist. That thing is huge. Okay. So let's just end the game. And quit out of this. So the next section is going to be the complete objectives. So this trigger is going to fire when the objective is complete, and it will set the objective status to completed. Okay, so create another event. This is going to be, we're going to create another trigger. So yeah, objectives, new trigger. And this, we'll call this complete kill objectives. Complete kill objectives. Okay. Create an event. So this is unit dies. So it's going to complete when the Ultralist and Nidus worm die. Conditions. So we need conditions in this trigger, but we aren't going to put them in the conditions section. Instead, we're going to use a special action to create them in the actions section. Okay. So sometimes in the middle of your trigger, you want to choose between different actions depending on the circumstances of the game and based on what caused the trigger to run. So for this trigger, we're going to change the state of one objective or the other to completed based on whether the unit that died was the Nidus Swarm or Ultralisk. So to do this, we're going to create an if then else action. Okay, so Control R. So if then else. So this action contains the sections for conditions and 2 sections for actions. So if the conditions are true, then the first set of actions is carried out. If the conditions are false, then the second set of actions is carried out. Okay, so basically we're going to say something like, if the Ultralisk is killed, then show the Ultralisk objective completed. Else, if the Nidus Swarm is killed, show that the Nidus Swarm objective is completed. Or at least that's what I believe that we're going to do. Okay, in the if section, make a comparison condition. Okay, so right click, new condition, comparison. Okay, you'll need to change the value 1 from owner unit to triggering unit. So value 1. Triggering unit. Okay, so then in the then section, make a set objective state action. Set objective state. And set the objective to our Nidus Swarm objective. So just go to variable Nidus Swarm objective. And set the state to completed. So, and then we're going to just leave the else section to blank. So then just repeat these steps for the Ultralisk. Okay. So we need to, let's go back to this triggering unit value. And this value needs to be, go to variable and set this to Nidus Swarm. Okay. Yeah, so that should be it. So now we can just, let's see. Yeah, we should just be able to copy this if then else and paste it. So under if, triggering unit, this value should be Ultralisk. And then objective, variable, Ultralisk objective. Okay, let's just check, make sure that's right. It looks correct. Now if any unit dies or a complete objective trigger will fire when it does, our if then actions will check to see if it was one of our 2 objectives. If so, then that objective status will be set to complete. Yeah, that's what I was saying before. So let's go ahead and save it and test it. File save. So hopefully this works. Cross your fingers. So basically we're going to go, we have to be ready because those yellow players are going to try to kill us right off the bat. Let's try to save it.
That lady's about to say.
Oh, wait. Okay.
What's up? Time to man. Break it down. Count on me.
Okay, so these warning messages will pop up sometimes. They don't affect the gameplay at all. It just uncheck the check marks.
What's the plan?
Okay.
Raiders roll.
Should be some other players here.
Sounds like a plan. Sell me.
Just kill these fast.
Raiders,
Okay.
talk to me. You
So
can
we
count
want to
on
make
what's
sure the
plan.
objective is complete,
Break it
as
down.
well as we should check to see
man up.
if we get those extra units.
Sounds like a plan.
So we'll see our first
Raiders
time
roll.
ever seeing the in-game dialogue,
You can count on me.
which should
Sounds
occur
like
when
a
you enter.
plan.
Say, we're coming with you. There we
Time
go.
to man up. You can count on me. Raiders roll.
Okay, let's not kill the
Sell me.
civilians. So let's just
Time
go
to man up.
kill the
Sounds like a
Ultralisk. We
plan.
should have more than enough units now.
Armed and... What's the plan?
Is it critical?
Let's keep Raynor
Talk
in
to
the
me.
front.
You can count on me. Raiders roll.
So the Ultralist doesn't do too much splash damage.
Break it down.
And then we'll just use our
Sounds like a
grenade,
plan.
our plasma gun. There you go.
What's up?
So kill the Ultralist. Now we're gonna just kill the nice one.
Charge it.
And that's it. Alright, cool. Yeah, thanks everyone for watching. That's the end of the second page of our triggers section. So in the next video, we'll continue with page 3. And yeah, thanks everyone for watching, and take it easy. Alright, bye now.